Hi all, it's Teresa. I love working with acrylic paints. Well, my house is pretty much like an art gallery, and recently I made a new addition. I was thinking of my grandparents the other day, my father's parents, and I remembered that I had this framed photograph of my grandparents on their wedding day. So I pulled it out of the closet. I still had it wrapped up from many moves ago, and I decided to reframe it. Fortunately, this is 16 by 20, the photograph, and I work in 16 by 20 a lot when I do paintings, and so I do have a couple extra frames that I had bought at thrift stores. So I could probably use one of those to make a nice frame for this photograph. This frame is pretty old, and I don't think I will use this frame. I was hoping that this would be dated on the back because there's no date on the front. And as I'm carefully unpacking the photograph from the frame, there's no date on the back. So I don't know what year this was taken, and there's no one for me to ask that question. So I'm taking this frame apart more, and this glass is pretty old. It's pretty heavy. And as I'm looking at the frame more, I decided I cannot use this frame. I will maybe cut it down and use it for a smaller frame, but there's just too much damage on it. But look at this photograph. It's a black and white sepia toned photograph, 16 by 20 like I mentioned, mounted on a cardboard. The pose, the dress, and the floral scenery. Isn't it beautiful? Such attention to detail. So as I'm looking through my frames, I do have several 16 by 20 frames that I could use. I had this oak frame that I had painted for another painting, and I want to use this because of the high profile of the frame, and it's a nice quality wood frame too. I'm just going to see what it looks like in black. And I don't want to just have it in a black frame, although this is nice too. But I had my heart set on redoing this frame and making it my own. Something very different. Okay, the idea I have for this is to paint it more orangish with some brown and black streaks to make it look like wood. So, just like a lot of my projects, I'm just going to let this evolve as I work on it. And I have these acrylic paints. I have a yellow, orange, burgundy, dark chocolate, and black. First, I'm going to do a mixture of yellow and orange as a base color. And as I'm painting this, I don't mix a real big quantity of the base color. I mix it as I'm using it because I do want variations in the color because I want it eventually to look like wood, and so there are variations in the colors in wood. Okay, so this is the frame after I put a second light coat on with the yellows and oranges. And of course this is too brilliant of a color, but I'm using these colors as a base coat, and when I put other colors on top of it that will be watered down layers of paint, I think that this base coat will still show through and provide some nice tonal differences. I do want the frame to be colorful, but of course this color is too bright and brilliant for this photograph. I don't want to hang a vintage frame on my wall. That's not what I want. But I still do need to tone down the color on the frame. Okay, so since I want to tone down the color of this frame overall, I'm going to try a thin coat of this burgundy paint. So I'm going to load up the brush with a watered down coat and paint it on the entire frame and let it dry fully. Okay, so this is the frame after I put 2 watered down coats of the burgundy all over the frame, and it toned down the color quite a bit. I kind of like it. So I'm going to use this brush. It's a bristle brush, and I had chipped out a lot of the bristles from it, and these are spiky, stiff bristles. So I'm going to use this brush to do little details on here, like little wormhole type things and chips in the wood, things like that. Different sizes, different distances from each other, and different shapes. I'm trying not to do any consistent pattern on these. I want it to look pretty random. And now I want to do some wood graining effect. I'm going to add some brown to the black, and I want it to be pretty watery, this paint. You could probably even try to use a chipped out toothbrush for something like this. And I'm just going to drag it lightly alongside the frame and see how this all works out. Okay, let's check to see what this looks like. And actually, I don't think it's too bad. I like the color of the frame with the photograph. One of the challenges I have when I'm doing projects sometimes is when to decide that it's finished, or when to keep working on it because I have other ideas. But I like this. I think I'm going to darken the edge of the frame all the way around, maybe inside here too. And then I'm going to put a gloss varnish over top to protect it, and that tends to bring out the color and give it more depth. So I decided to hang this beautiful heirloom portrait in my entrance hallway because I pass through this hallway a million times a day and I'll have a lot of chances to look at it. And I think it will look even better on this wall after I get this hallway painted. And I think the frame color sets off the portrait much nicer than the vintage frame did. I'm happy with it. So I hope this video gave you some good ideas to use in your own home. And if you like this video, can I ask you to please give it a thumbs up? So thanks again for watching. Bye-bye.